I am so glad you are here. It is Magical Tuesday in my world. I'm Liz. Let's talk about a couple ways to do not magic. So, one, which I'm seeing a lot of and have seen a lot of for a while, is to create something that's intended to be fairly permanent. So, maybe some protection magic for your home or your workplace, something where you're going to string and knot things into place that you're going to leave up, almost like they're a decorative piece. This one does not involve knots, except at the end, but they end up looking something like this. It's a beautiful piece from a maker in Wisconsin. And if you were doing a spell for love, you might pick this string up. Or for peace. And she's very intentional about what she puts together, and she's very upfront about what's in each of these, whether you're grabbing the short ones like this, or whether you're grabbing something longer and more dramatic, which she's got really long ones as well. So with something like that, you're just going to tie things into place. And as you're tying each thing into place, you're going to get your intention set. That is such a common practice now that it's even a children's counting book, which I adore. I think it's lovely. But there's another one that's more happenstance. You can see this. There's a novel called The Professor's Wife. It's a horror novel that exhibits this. You can read about it in historic accounts of witchcraft. Specifically, the accounts I've read have talked about women who have captured wind in knots and sold those strings of knots to sailors for them to release whenever they want wind to get them through the doldrums, that part of the ocean where everything just sits. And it's a different knot that you have to make for that. For something where you're stringing something permanently, just about any knot that will hold the items in place will do just fine. But when you're going to release the magic later, you're collecting something to release later. Perhaps you finish meditating and you feel calm, serene, grounded, and peaceful, and you're going to knot that into your rope so that you have that to draw on later. And all you have to do is untie the knot, which means you need a knot you can pull untied. So it's a pretty simple process to do that. You make a loop, just like this. You feed one end through and you pull the knot tight, because later, whenever you need it, you can undo the knot. And you can make as many knots as your cord will hold. There are different patterns and ways of making these knots. Some people do it one after another, after another, after another. Others insist on dividing it in half first, and then dividing it and doing knots at the quarter points, and then dividing it and doing knots. So it's very symmetrical and very intentional. And if you have a way of doing it that works for you, that's perfect. That's the way you should do it. If you meet someone else who looks askance at your method because it doesn't match theirs, smile politely, say, "Thank you so much for the info. I appreciate it," and move on with your life. Incorporate their information or not, that's up to you. But don't let anybody tell you you're doing this wrong, because they can't, because it's your way of doing it. So what can you capture in knots like this? All kinds of energy. Obviously, historically, wind was at least one of the things it was used for. And I mentioned peace and groundedness at the end of meditating, or perhaps capturing some of a ritual's energy in a knot. I would do that with everyone's permission. So if you're going to do knot magic by knotting up, say, full moon energy, and you're going to get maybe a year's worth of full moons, you're going to do 13 knots in here, that's lovely, but everyone should consent to you taking that energy and storing some of it for future use. If you're the only one in the ritual, then you're the only one you need to get permission from, and that's wonderful. But ask around. Perhaps you are taking a hike in the woods and it's just a particularly serene and wonderful experience. Capture some of that energy using your knot magic. Make your loop, weave the thread through, tie it tight, and release it when you need it. I hope that these two methods of doing that magic give you some inspiration for moving forward. Maybe even if you've got a little kid who's learning to count, a great book on the subject. And in the meantime, just know that myself, the rest of the crew here at Megas Books in Minneapolis, we think you're an amazing magical person. Of course we do. And we appreciate the little magical things you can do right here in social media land. I know you know what they are. Go ahead, click it. You can do it. You can do it. And in the meantime, have an amazing week with your amazing self. Blessed be.